You know that feeling? When life gets kind of comfortable, maybe a bit too comfortable, and there's this little voice thinking, am I missing something? Something else.
Oh, definitely. Life's always, shifting. Sometimes it's small things you barely notice, like a new way of looking at something.
Right, or a skill you pick up slowly. And other times, bam! It's the big stuff, the changes that really make you take notice.
And that tension between that comfort zone and, knowing you need to grow, that's just part of being human, isn't it? Our brains love predictable stuff.
Sure. Makes sense.
But the world keeps changing, and honestly, so do we, or at least our potential does. So being able to adapt, it's not just nice to have, it's kind of crucial.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're digging into today.
This whole dynamic.
Because we're looking at this great article, 6 Ways to Embrace Change in Your Life. It's by Elizabeth Perry. She's the coach community manager at BetterUp.
And she really knows her stuff.
Yeah.
Background in transpersonal psychology, transformative leadership.
So perfect for this topic of handling life's changes, big or small. And we should probably acknowledge up front, that word change can make people feel a bit uneasy.
Totally. That hesitation, maybe even anxiety when you're facing something unknown. That's a really normal, deep-seated reaction.
Yeah.
It feels safer to stick with what you know, right?
Even if what you know isn't perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to stepping out into something new and unproven.
Exactly. So our mission today for you listening is to kind of take that idea of change being scary and maybe flip it a bit.
Offer some practical ways to look at it differently.
Yeah, give you some strategies, a new perspective maybe, so change feels less like something to dread and more like, a springboard.
An opportunity for real growth.
Yeah.
Based on what Elizabeth Perry shares.
Okay, let's get into it.
So first off, this core idea from the article, change is basically the only thing you can count on. Like that old saying from Heraclitus.
The only constant is change. Yeah.
Exactly. We can try to fight it, but life just keeps moving, keeps transforming.
Right. And it's so easy to feel stressed when we get pushed out of that comfort zone.
Perry emphasizes that feeling stressed is normal, but actually doing something, taking steps forward, that's key for a richer life. And she mentions this really interesting study.
Yes, the Stephen Levitt one from the University of Chicago. It's quite revealing.
Tell us about that.
Well, he had people facing big life decisions like, should I move? Should I quit my job? And they flipped a coin to decide.
Seriously? A coin toss?
Yeah. And the surprising thing was, the people who followed the coin toss, who actually made the change, they reported being happier down the road.
Happier than those who stuck with the status quo.
Exactly. And those who didn't make the change, they often felt regret later on. The thinking is maybe just taking action, embracing a change, gives you a sense of control.
Even if chance played a part.
Right. It boosts that feeling of agency, which links to happiness, regardless of how that specific change turned out. It's about doing.
Wow, that speaks volumes, doesn't it? That just engaging with those tough choices, even with uncertainty, builds your confidence. Yeah, that feeling of satisfaction, like after you push through something hard, the struggle fades, but the accomplishment, that stays.
For sure.
And Perry makes it clear, change isn't just about avoiding regret. It's like fundamentally linked to growth, personal development, professional stuff, new relationships.
That often come out of those periods of change, yeah.
Right. And there's this snowball effect she talks about with learning and growing. Say you navigate a career shift successfully.
Okay.
You probably learned new things, got more resilient, felt more confident about adapting, right? So those skills, that positive feeling, that becomes fuel for the next time you face a change, even a smaller one. Makes it seem less scary. It sort of feeds itself.
Okay, so the takeaway is clear. Change happens, and ultimately it's good for us. Intellectually, okay. But how do we, actually do it? How do we embrace it day to day?
Well, that's where Perry's 6 strategies come in. They're really practical.
Yeah.
And the first one is maybe deceptively simple. Writing it down. Journaling.
Journaling. Why is that so effective here?
Well, think about when you're wrestling with a big decision. Your mind can be just chaos, right? Conflicting feelings, worries flying around. It's hard to get clear.
Totally.
You're writing it down. It's like pulling those thoughts out of the whirlwind and putting them on paper. It gives you some distance.
Like laying it all out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could list emotions, describe your doubts, write down questions you have. The goal is just to see it objectively.
And maybe spot patterns or those mental blocks you keep hitting.
Precisely. Perry highlights that. And she includes that great C.S. Lewis quote, "You're never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream."
I love that.
It really ties into how writing can be that first step, exploring what else is possible, no matter where you are in life.
That connects really nicely to the second strategy. Accepting your fears.
Yeah, because change often means uncertainty, and uncertainty naturally triggers fear.
Like fear of rejection if a relationship ends, or money worries if you leave a job.
Exactly. Those are real feelings. Psychologically, uncertainty kind of flicks the brain's threat switch. It's an old survival thing, wanting predictability.
Okay, so the fear is normal.
But Perry suggests reframing it, not as a stop sign, but maybe more like a signpost indicating you're heading into new territory.
And she gives some thought exercises for that, right? To build a more positive mindset.
Yeah, they're about tapping into your inner resources. Like, focus on times you did overcome stuff in the past. Remind yourself you're capable.
Right. Build on past wins.
Identify skills you have that are adaptable, so if you fear failing at one specific thing, you know you can pivot.
Okay.
Dig into why you're afraid. What's the real root? Sometimes just naming it stops it from spiraling. And think about how boosting your confidence can help you use your strengths for whatever's coming.
It's about empowering yourself. And that Audre Lorde quote she uses is just fantastic. When I dare to be powerful, then it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid.
Such a powerful idea. Focusing on your vision, your strength, makes the fear seem smaller.
Okay, so we've got journaling and accepting fear. What's the third strategy?
This one might surprise some people. Hire a coach.
A coach. Interesting.
Yeah, it ties into this idea that, successful people rarely go completely alone. We all rely on support networks, friends, family, mentors.
Sure. Community matters.
And professional coaching is another really effective form of that support.
How does a coach help specifically with embracing change?
Well, Perry points out they can help create personalized action plans. Breaking down a huge, overwhelming decision into smaller, doable steps.
Makes it less daunting.
Right. Plus, having regular sessions. That builds in accountability, someone to check in with, keep you on track.
Yeah, that can make a huge difference.
And she mentions all sorts of coaches, life coaches, career coaches, even sleep coaches at BetterUp. It shows that you can get targeted support for almost any kind of change you're facing.
And the Maya Angelou quote fits perfectly here. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude.
Exactly. A coach can be brilliant at helping you shift your perspective, see new angles, find ways forward you hadn't considered.
Okay, number 4 is embrace creative thinking. How does that fit in?
It might seem a bit indirect at first, but think about it. Life almost never goes exactly according to plan, does it?
Definitely not. Curveballs are standard.
Right. And Perry argues that being creative builds resilience, that knack for adapting, finding different solutions when things go sideways.
That's so creativity makes you more flexible.
Yeah, and more resourceful. Things like pottery, reading groups, sketching. Doing creative stuff regularly trains your brain to think outside the box.
Interesting. I wouldn't have immediately connected pottery with handling a job change, but I see the link now.
And Perry actually connects that curiosity you find in creative activities to success in other areas, like work-life balance or setting boundaries. It's about developing that flexible mindset.
Yeah.
And that Muhammad Ali quote nails it. A man who views the world the same at 50 as he did at 20 has wasted 30 years of life.
Wow. Keep evolving. Keep seeing things fresh.
That's the essence of it. Creativity helps you do that.
All right. Strategy number 5 is sharing with others. Back to that community idea.
Definitely. And the key insight here is that just feeling connected, being part of a supportive network, can actually reduce stress and boost well-being.
Even if they're not actively solving your problem.
Yeah, just that sense of belonging, knowing you're not navigating this stuff in isolation, makes a difference.
Because you're not alone in facing big life stuff. Other people are going through it too.
Exactly. Perry emphasizes that sharing your own journey and hearing about others makes the whole self-improvement path feel less lonely.
And it can inspire others too, right?
Totally. She talks about becoming a leader of change in your own circle just by being open about your process. And the Darwin quote she uses is so relevant.
Let's hear it.
It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change.
Adaptability.
Yeah.
Connection helps us adapt. Makes sense.
Then the final 6th strategy Perry suggests is consulting with a mental health professional.
Okay, this is important. When fear or worry gets too big.
Yeah, when it feels overwhelming, debilitating, sometimes there are deeper things going on. Fear of letting people down, maybe stuff from the past that make change feel impossible.
And a therapist can help uncover those root causes.
Exactly. Identifying why you feel so stuck is often the first real step towards feeling more in control. Therapy offers that safe space to really unpack the distress and resistance.
It's about understanding yourself better to move forward.
Right. And the Haruki Murakami quote she includes is just beautiful. When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what the storm is all about.
That transformation through facing the hard stuff, powerful.
So, okay, you've used these strategies, you've actually taken the leap, embraced a change. Now what? The article then shifts to how you keep that positive change going.
Ah, right. Sustaining it. Because starting is one thing, sticking with it is another.
Totally. So Perry gives 5 tips for this. First one, don't lose sight of your goals.
Keep your eyes on the prize.
Yeah, but break it down. Big long-term goals need short-term achievable steps. So you get that steady feeling of progress, hit those little milestones.
That makes sense. Keeps the motivation up.
Exactly. Which leads to the second tip, celebrate consistency.
So not just the big wins.
Nope. Acknowledge the daily grind, the weekly effort. Pat yourself on the back for showing up. Perry mentions new runners, for example.
Okay.
Rewarding yourself for just sticking to the schedule, even for short runs, helps build that habit long term. Healthy little rewards can be powerful motivators.
Gotcha. Okay, tip 3 is a classic. Invest in self-care.
Absolutely fundamental. You need energy, physical, emotional, mental to pursue goals. So exercise, hobbies, mindfulness, whatever recharges you, make it a priority.
Can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Precisely. Fourth tip, use visual reminders.
Like vision boards or affirmations.
Yeah, or journaling about your goals. Things that keep what you're aiming for and why it matters right there in front of you. Daily inspiration.
Like priming yourself for success.
Kind of, yeah. It reinforces the goal and its meaning. And the 5th tip for maintaining change is crucial. Recognize negative triggers.
What does that mean exactly?
It means getting real about what tends to throw you off course. Is it certain people, specific places, even particular ways people talk to you?
Ah, identifying your personal roadblocks.
Exactly. Understanding what pushes your buttons or triggers those old, unhelpful thought patterns allows you to anticipate them and manage them proactively. It's about knowing yourself.
So you can navigate around those mental blocks instead of getting derailed by them.
Right. It's all about self-awareness and strategy.
Okay, so putting it all together, embracing change, whether it's a small mindset shift or a huge life event, it really is an investment, isn't it? In your own growth, your fulfillment.
Absolutely. It takes work, no doubt. Intentional effort. But like Elizabeth Perry lays out, if you know your values, set clear goals, bring your community in, you can really change your whole relationship with change.
Turn it from something scary into fuel for becoming who you want to be.
Yeah, a catalyst for genuine self-improvement.
Which leads us maybe to a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Growth rarely just happens by accident, does it? It's usually that conscious choice, that decision to actually engage with change, lean into it, that moves us forward.
Towards becoming that version of ourselves we know we can be.
So maybe just think about it today. What's one small step, just one tiny action you could take towards the change you've been thinking about? What could start that positive momentum for you?